So I got recommended this short, and the short is titled "One of the best debuts ever," and the youngest is 18, so it's perfect. And I talked about this in my unpopular K-pop opinions video. Like when I see shorts which talk about a group and how they're all adults and stuff like that, it makes me so mad because I've plenty of times mentioned it how K-pop stands will hype up a certain group simply because they have adults in them and stuff like that, and they will think they are the only adult groups there, and minors debut more when plenty of adults exist. But I mentioned this in my unpopular K-pop opinions video, which I recently released, that when K-pop stands hype up an adult group, what about the vocals? What about the talent? What about the singing? What about the dancing? What about the stage presence, the music, the whatever? Any of that matter to you? Or do you just hype them up simply because you know they're adults and you blindly stand them simply because they're adults? Like I mentioned this in my unpopular K-pop opinions video because I noticed this. Like K-pop stands, they hyped up groups like Babies for being 30-year-olds, and then there were people, giving views to Z for being all adults, and now people are shocked the kiss of life being adults. And this made me think that people are just blindly standing them or checking them out simply because they're adults. Like I understand that Kiss of Life and Zeed's music are actually pretty good, and I think they're actually decent. But for Baby's debut song Unlock It, it's okay. It's not the best song ever, and it's not objectively amazing. But yet I can see people just blindly standing them simply because the two members that debuted are 30-year-olds, and they have like a third member now who is a 2001 liner. She is 22 years old currently, I believe so, if her birthday has passed. So that means they're all adults. And K-pop stans who saw this group, like when someone promoted them on Twitter or something, and the group was going viral for having 30-year-olds, then people would, you know, um, then people would definitely stand them for being adults. But I don't think that K-pop stans actually care if the group has good music, if the group has good vocals, if the group has this or that. As long as the group is all adults, people will blindly stand them because they have this mentality that minors debut more, adults debut less, and this and that. And there was this one article also that Career Boo made, I believe it was Career Boo. They talked about this band that was debuting, and it wasn't a group, it was a band, and one of the members is a 24-year-old or a 25-year-old that was debuting in the band. It's a pre-debut band, and that also made me mad. Like, why do articles like these and short channels get so shocked over one group being adults when they should realize that there's plenty of other groups being adults as well? And K-pop stans, why do they have to blindly support a group simply because they're all adult members? Do they not care about the music aspect, the talent aspect, or something? Imagine if a group has all adults in them. They come from a bigger budgeted company enough for K-pop stans to notice them, but the debut song and whatever music they release isn't that good, and it could be like deemed as a bad song or something like that. I believe that K-pop stans will not care if the music is bad. As long as they're all adults, they will stand them randomly. Because if you look at Zeed's MV for Dreamland, and you look at some comments, and if you look at some of the comments on the short as well, like one, two of the comments, and a couple of comments, not a lot, on Kiss of Life's Shh, the debut song, you will see some of the comments talking about their ages and how they're all adults and stuff like that, and it just literally annoys me so much. Like, I get it, they're all adults, but they are not the only adult group, so why do you all hype them up so much simply because they're adults? I hate the fact that K-pop stans, hype up groups for being adults when other groups have adults in them, and they exist too, but K-pop stans don't check them out or don't want to know about them or stuff like that because they are not from a bigger budgeted company, and K-pop stans would rather have adults debut right into their lap, meaning that bigger budgeted companies debut adults for them to check out rather than them actually checking out different budgeted companies and stuff like that. And I'm not forcing you to check out groups, check out smaller groups, check out unpopular groups and stuff like that. I'm not forcing you to stand no groups or something. But like, if y'all can blindly stand bigger budgeted companies or groups y'all see with adults in them, then y'all can blindly stand plenty of other groups that have adults in them, and give them your support, hype them up and stuff like that for them being adults, because plenty of adults exist too. Another thing that annoys me is how K-pop stans, as I mentioned earlier, K-pop stans hype a group simply because they're adults, and they talk about their ages, and they'll go like, oh my god, finally a group with all adults, finally a group that have adults in them. Oh my god, I will stand them, they're all adults, because many companies are debuting minors. I don't think K-pop stars actually care about the music, actually care about the talent, the singing, the vocals. Yes, they probably do care about that, but that comes secondary to what K-pop stars actually stand the group for. K-pop stars, I believe most of the K-pop stars stand a group that they see with all adults in them and hype them up. I believe K-pop stars mostly stand them because they're all adults and not because of the music, the talent, anything. Sure, you will see K-pop stars talking about the music, the talent aspect of the group or something, but that comes secondary. To K-pop stars, the ages come first because I believe this. I see so many people hyping up, so many people getting shocked at Kiss of Life being all adults, and this title shows it. One of the best debuts ever, and the youngest is 18, so perfect. So it's perfect. So a lot of the people do care about, I believe so, they do care about the talent, but that comes secondary to them. The talent, the music, and everything comes second to them, and they mostly blindly stand the group simply because the group has adults in them, and it just really annoys me because how can you all just stand a group simply because they're adults in them? How can you all simply just want to get into a group simply because they're all adults and their ages are like that? Sure, I get it. You don't want to stand minors. You want more adult groups in them. But why do y'all have to put the music secondary? You have to put the talent secondary, the the vocals, the skills, the stage presence, the dance, everything secondary as to the group being adults. And I'm pretty sure that K-pop stans, they don't care if the group doesn't they don't care about the talent, the music, the singing, the dancing, the stage presence, everything as much as they care about the ages of the group, because nobody would be talking about groups like Kiss of Life being adults if they cared about the music more, because this title says one of the best debut ever and the youngest is 18, so it's perfect. And this really shows that K-pop stans care a lot about the ages, because if they only cared mostly about the music or the dancing or the talent or whatever, this title would have just been said one of the best debuts ever. But no, they had to mention the fact that the youngest is 18 years old, which means that K-pop stans care a lot about the age, and they will blindly check out a group for the age, and they wouldn't care much about the music and all that because that would be secondary to them. And it just really annoys me that K-pop stans are like this, that they have this mentality and stuff like that. Not mentality, that they are like this, that they can blindly support a group simply because they're all adults, and the music aspect or the songs or whatever will be secondary to them. Because if that was the main focus, they wouldn't be constantly mentioning the fact that Kiss of Life are all adults. They wouldn't be constantly mentioning that a group that they see with all adults and they hype them up, they couldn't constantly be mentioning that they're adults. Sure, you want to show people that they are adults. Sure, you want to tell people that they're adults. But every single time you wouldn't be mentioning the fact that they're adults. And it just really gets on my nerves that how K-pop stans, I believe, they mostly just hype up a group because they're adults and not because they care about the music as much as they care about their ages.